The courtroom was dead silent. Not the hum of a phone. Not a breath. Just the sharp, rhythmic echo of Meri's heels against the floor, each step sounding like the ticking of a countdown. She clutched a manila envelope in her hand, the kind that doesn't just hold paper, but years of buried truth. Her eyes weren't the same soft ones fans once knew. They were colder now, steel where there used to be warmth. Across the room, Kody sat rigid, arms crossed, jaw locked, that familiar mask of control cracking just slightly at the edges. Beside him, Robyn's mascara had already begun to smudge, her hands trembling, chest rising fast as though each breath was a confession. In the back row, Christine and Janelle exchanged a look that said everything words couldn't. What has Meri done? The judge cleared his throat. Mrs. Brown, you may proceed. Meri inhaled deeply, her shoulders trembling with the weight of years. And when she finally spoke, her voice didn't just echo, it cut. Your Honor, I have evidence that changes everything. About Kody. About Robyn. About the lies we've all been living. A gasp rippled through the courtroom like a wave breaking against stone. Cameras clicked. Reporters leaned forward. And for the first time in years, Kody Brown blinked, uncertain. His eyes darted to Robyn. For one fleeting second, she looked away. Because behind that envelope was something more dangerous than revenge. The truth. A truth powerful enough to burn down the Brown family legacy, one secret at a time. Stay. Till the end. Because what Meri reveals next doesn't just shake their world, it shatters it. The courtroom wasn't grand. It was small, almost claustrophobic, walls closing in like they could barely contain what was about to erupt. No music, no theatrics, just the sound of papers shuffling, a tired ceiling fan wheezing, and the distant click of cameras outside. Inside sat the family once known for unity, now fractured beyond repair. Gone were the TLC smiles, the couch confessions, the perfect facade of harmony. What remained were 5 souls trapped in the ruins of a dream they once sold to America. At the plaintiff's table, Meri. Not the quiet, invisible first wife anymore, but a woman reclaiming her voice. Across from her, Kody and Robyn, the king and queen of illusion. All rise. The judge entered, every step radiating authority. He looked around, fully aware that the circus outside had found its main act inside his courtroom. Court is now in session. Meri's lawyer, Dina Cartwright, calm, razor-sharp, stood tall. Your Honor, we are here today to prove intentional fraud, emotional manipulation, and financial exploitation committed by Mr. Kody Brown and Mrs. Robyn Brown against my client, Meri Brown, and by extension every wife who lived under their influence. A ripple of whispers surged through the room. Christine clenched her jaw. Janelle folded her arms, her face stone. Kody leaned toward his lawyer, whispering furiously. Robyn dabbed her eyes, already trembling under the weight of her own guilt. Proceed, the judge said firmly. Meri stood. Her voice wavered. Only once. I gave over 20 years to a family that preached equality, but practiced control. I believed in our faith, even when I was left behind. But after years of silence, I discovered what was really happening behind my back. Gasps. Robyn shifted. Kody scoffed. Mr. Brown, the judge warned. You'll have your turn. Dina clicked a remote. A projection flashed to life. Exhibit A, bank records. Transfers. Over $250,000 funneled into an LLC under Robyn's maiden name. Meri continued, voice steady now. When I asked for help with property taxes, Robyn told me the family couldn't afford it. Christine's eyes fell. Janelle whispered, I knew it. It wasn't just the money, it was the betrayal of silence. Robyn finally stood. Your Honor, I didn't know. Kody handled everything. I trusted him. Her voice cracked. Meri didn't flinch. You always played innocent, Robyn, but you always knew how to stay protected, emotionally, legally, financially. The judge lifted a hand. Let's keep it procedural. Dina's voice softened, but her words hit hard. We're not here to destroy reputations. We're here to reveal patterns, of coercion, control, and deception that left my client and others in debt and despair. The air turned cold. Cameras outside went wild. Inside, Christine took the stand. Then Janelle. Each testimony, another fracture in Kody's empire. When court adjourned, Kody stormed out. Robyn followed, hiding behind tissues and camera flashes. Christine and Janelle lingered, standing with Meri for the first time in years. Meri stayed behind, alone, in the hollow courtroom. She opened the manila envelope. Inside, a sealed DNA report. Her hands shook, but her eyes were steel. Because this was never just about money. It was about blood, and the truth still waiting to be unleashed. Next morning, the continuation. The courthouse stood under a cold, merciless light. Reporters swarmed the steps, microphones, flashbulbs, headlines waiting to explode. Inside, the Browns filed in like ghosts. Kody looked cornered. Robyn looked terrified. And Meri, calm, resolute, carried the same envelope. "Mrs. Brown," the judge said, "are you prepared to present your additional evidence?" Meri's lawyer nodded. "Yes, Your Honor. What we submit today doesn't just clarify the case. It redefines it." Meri rose. "This," she said, lifting the envelope, "is a DNA report. It concerns one of Robyn's children, and my late mother's dying request before she passed." The words sliced through the air. Kody stiffened. Robyn's head snapped up, eyes wide with panic. "What are you implying?" Kody barked. Dina stepped forward. "Your Honor, based on timeline discrepancies and sworn statements, we believe one of the children may not be biologically Mr. Brown's." The room erupted. Gasps, shouts, reporters scribbling. The judge slammed the gavel. "Order, order!" But the damage was done, because this wasn't just a trial anymore. This was the collapse of a legacy. And the truth? Meri Brown had waited decades to speak, was finally ready to set her free. The air in the courtroom felt like it could shatter. Meri's voice cracked, not from weakness, but from the sheer weight of everything she'd been forced to hold in for years. "When I asked him for help fixing the roof at my house," she began, her voice trembling but clear, "he told me there wasn't enough in the budget." Her eyes flicked toward Kody, who refused to look up. "But that same week?" She paused, letting the silence stretch like a blade. "He took Robyn and her kids to Disneyland." A gasp rippled through the courtroom like a current. Even the court reporter, who had been mechanically typing all morning, froze mid-keystroke. The words hung there, heavy and damning. Because this wasn't just about money. It was about value, about who mattered, and who didn't. Kody shifted in his seat, jaw tight, rage simmering just beneath the surface. His lawyer stood abruptly. "Your Honor, we request a recess." "Denied," the judge said flatly. "Proceed." Meri sank slowly back into her chair, her composure unbroken. But the tremor in her hands told another story. The kind of pain that doesn't fade. It just learns to stand taller. Next, Janelle took the stand. Unlike Meri, she didn't lead with emotion. She led with proof. Her tone was calm, deliberate, the voice of a woman who had analyzed the lies long enough to map them like a crime scene. She placed a stack of printed emails and text messages before the judge. "These," she said, "are records of financial decisions made without any of the other wives' knowledge or consent." She took a deep breath. "I stayed because I believed we'd come back to center." But the center kept moving, and it always moved closer to Robyn. That single sentence landed like a verdict. The judge leaned back in his chair, steepling his fingers. "I've heard enough for today," he finally said. He struck his gavel once, the sound echoing like thunder. "Court will reconvene tomorrow at 10 a.m. Counsel will prepare closing arguments for the preliminary financial claims. Further motions may be filed as new evidence is introduced." With that, the courtroom exhaled. A collective sigh of exhaustion and disbelief. Kody stood abruptly, face red with anger, and stormed out of the room. Robyn followed, dabbing her tears, avoiding every camera that waited outside. Christine stayed seated, watching them go. Janelle walked to Meri, placed a steady hand on her shoulder, a quiet show of solidarity, of sisterhood reborn in fire. And Meri, she stayed behind. The room emptied, but she didn't move. The silence now wasn't peaceful. It was suffocating. The walls felt heavier, the lights dimmer, She opened her manila envelope slowly, just enough to reveal the edge of a sealed document. On the front, DNA report, confidential. Her eyes lingered on those words. There was a storm behind them, grief, fury, justice waiting to be unleashed. Because this was never just about favoritism or money or betrayal. It was about truth. And Meri Brown had only just begun to speak. The next morning, the courthouse stood under a pale, merciless dawn. The sunlight didn't feel warm, it felt accusatory. Like even the sky wanted the truth to come out. Reporters swarmed the steps, microphones raised like weapons, shouting questions no one dared answer. Inside, the Browns entered one by one. No one spoke. No one looked at each other. Even the marble walls seemed to whisper secrets. Meri arrived last. The same manila envelope in her hand, bent now, worn at the edges, as though she had opened it 100 times in her mind but never yet out loud. Robyn sat at the defense table, head bowed, twisting a tissue into shreds between trembling fingers. Kody was beside her, his posture different today, shoulders hunched, jaw locked. He looked less like a patriarch and more like a man backed into a corner. "Court is now in session," the bailiff called. "All rise." The judge entered, expression unreadable, and took his seat. His eyes shifted to Meri. "Mrs. Brown," he said, "yesterday you alluded to additional evidence. Are you prepared to present it today?" Meri didn't answer. Her lawyer, Dina Cartwright, stood. "Yes, Your Honor. And what we are about to submit is not only relevant, it is foundational to the truth." The courtroom seemed to shrink. Every breath felt louder. Meri rose slowly, holding the envelope like it weighed 100 pounds. "This," she said, her voice steady but cold, "is a DNA report." A murmur spread like wildfire. Eyes widened. Reporters scrambled. Cameras clicked in a frenzy. Meri's gaze locked on Robyn. "It concerns one of Robyn's children," she said quietly. "And my late mother's final request before she passed." Kody's entire body tensed. Robyn's head snapped up, eyes wide, terrified. "What are you implying?" Kody barked. Dina cut in, voice calm but lethal. "Your Honor, based on timeline discrepancies and personal statements, we have reason to believe that one of the children in question may not be biologically Mr. Brown's." The courtroom exploded, gasps, shuffling feet. Reporters scribbling furiously. The judge's gavel slammed down. "Order, order in the court!" But nothing could silence what had already been unleashed. Because this wasn't just about betrayal. It was about blood. When the chaos finally died down, Meri opened the envelope. The sound of the crackling paper filled the room, far louder than it should have. She didn't hand it to the judge, not yet. Instead, she turned her gaze directly on Robyn. "You remember that night in Flagstaff? 2015? Robyn's lips trembled. "Yes, what about it?" Meri's voice hardened. "You said you were staying with your sister, but you weren't." The room went still. "You were with someone else." Robyn's face drained of color. Kody's rage snapped. "This is disgusting," he hissed. "She's trying to humiliate us." Dina's tone didn't flinch. "Your Honor, we are not here for humiliation. We are here for truth." The judge gestured for the bailiff to collect the document. He read it in silence. Each second felt like a lifetime. The courtroom was frozen in time, breaths held, hearts pounding. Finally, he looked up. "Mrs. Brown," he said slowly, "are you confirming that this report indicates a non-match?" Meri's eyes glistened, but her voice was firm. "Yes, Your Honor." The truth had finally drawn blood. "Your Honor." The truth had finally drawn blood. Tonight's story isn't just about lies. It's about the moment truth claws its way out of silence. What you're about to hear shattered the image of the perfect Brown family forever. The courtroom was suffocatingly still, the kind of stillness that makes your heartbeat sound too loud. Every eye was fixed on Dina as she rose from her seat, her tone calm but laced with fire. "Yes, Your Honor. One of the children listed under Mr. Brown's name is not biologically his." The words hung in the air like smoke. Robyn gasped, a sound that was half sob, half denial. Her hand flew to her mouth. No, this is a lie. You're twisting everything." Kody shot to his feet, face red, eyes blazing. "She's attacking my family. She's lost her mind." His voice thundered through the chamber, but beneath the fury something flickered. Doubt. A shadow he couldn't quite hide. "Mr. Brown, sit down," the judge barked, gavel slamming. The sound cracked through the air like lightning. The room fell silent again, thick with tension so sharp you could hear the tick of the courtroom clock. Dina took a breath and continued, "Your Honor, for privacy reasons, we will not name the child. However, the timeline of conception, matched with verified travel records, supports the claim. And this isn't rumor. My client was told by Mrs. Brown herself years ago during a heated moment of truth." Cameras clicked. Pens scratched. Robyn sat frozen, tears streaking down her face. Dina's voice cut through the silence again. Calm, deliberate, devastating. When fear and secrets mix, they don't vanish. They ferment. And eventually they explode. Christine turned to Janelle, whispering through a trembling hand, "Oh my God." She wasn't lying. Not all those years ago. Kody slammed his palm against the table. "Enough! You don't bring children into this!" Meri's voice cut through him, fragile but firm, trembling with emotion. "You brought all of us into this, Kody. You built your entire image on the word family. But family without truth? That's just a stage show." For once, Kody had no words. The judge cleared his throat, voice steady. "The evidence will be entered into record. This court will take a short recess. No further outbursts will be tolerated." Gavel strikes. The silence broke into chaos. Reporters scrambling, cameras flashing, tweets flying into the digital ether. Headlines were already forming. SisterWives DNA shock. Brown family scandal deepens. In the hallway, Meri leaned against the cold wall, breath uneven. Her hands trembled. She was strong, but this had taken everything. Dina approached quietly. "You did well." Meri's voice cracked. "Did I? Because right now it feels like I just lit a fire I can't control." Meanwhile, in the defense room, Robyn was falling apart. Her sobs echoed softly. "He'll never forgive me. He won't even look at me." Kody's silence was worse than rage. His eyes were distant, jaw clenched so tight it looked painful. When he finally spoke, his words were knives. "You told me everything, Robyn. You said there were no secrets." She choked on her tears. "I didn't mean to. It was before us. I was scared you'd leave." He slammed his hand against the wall. "You let me go on national television, defend you, defend them, and all along you knew." He laughed bitterly, a hollow sound. "Love built on lies isn't love. It's a countdown to collapse. Recess ends. The Browns return, pale and hollow, like ghosts of themselves. Do both sides wish to continue?" The judge asked. Dina nodded. "Yes, Your Honor." Kody's lawyer sighed. "We do. Then proceed." Meri's hands trembled as she stood. She didn't want to hurt anyone anymore. She just wanted the truth out, finally. Dina lifted a small device. "Your Honor, this voicemail was left on Meri Brown's phone 2 years ago. The voice is identified as Robyn Brown." She pressed play. Robyn's voice filled the courtroom, soft, broken, terrified. "Meri, please!" "Don't tell him. I can't lose him. You don't understand. It's not about lies. It's about survival." The recording ended. The silence that followed was absolute. Robyn whispered through tears, "I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I was alone. I was scared. You don't know what he's like when the cameras aren't rolling." Kody's jaw clenched. "Don't turn this on me." But it was too late. The truth was out. Every person in that courtroom saw it now. What Meri had been saying for years. Behind the family smiles and TLC cameras, there was rot. There were secrets. There were scars. The judge sighed heavily. "We'll recess until tomorrow. I suggest everyone reflect before we proceed." The gavel struck again. Meri walked out quietly, head bowed, tears welling but refusing to fall. Christine and Janelle followed, each lost in their own storm. Inside, Robyn crumbled completely. Kody just stared straight ahead, his empire, their illusion, collapsing piece by piece. Bold retention booster. The truth had finally been spoken. But this was only the beginning. The camera of our minds pans to Meri's desk, a folder half hidden under a pile of papers. Its label, financial records, private. Meri's trembling hand brushed across it. "One secret down," she whispered. "One more to go." And when court resumed the next morning, the air was heavier than before. Not with shock, but anticipation. Meri sat silently beside Dina, pale but resolute. Dina adjusted a stack of folders marked with red ink. Accounts, transfers, LLCs, signatures. But one folder was different. Black, unmarked, worn with age. The judge entered, voice tired but firm. "Court is back in session." Dina clicks again. A new email flickers onto the courtroom screen, the glow cutting through the tense silence. This one is different, signed not by Kody, but by Robyn. I confirm full authorization for Kody to act on behalf of the trust. Please proceed with the deposit. The words hang in the air like smoke. Dina turns to the judge, her tone sharp as glass. That deposit totaled $136,000, transferred directly from a shared Brown family account. None of the other wives were informed. You can hear someone gasp softly in the gallery. Even the court reporter pauses mid-typing. Dina continues, "This isn't just about hidden funds. It's about rewriting the power lines of an entire family." Kody's lawyer stands abruptly. "Your Honor, these are isolated transactions, taken out of context. My client was simply reorganizing assets to better support the family." Dina gives a small, knowing smirk. "By funneling them all into Robyn's name?" The judge raises a hand before the argument can spiral. "Let's proceed. Call your next witness." The tension thickens as Janelle walks to the stand. Her steps are steady, but her eyes burn with restrained fury. Years of betrayal condensed into a single walk across the room. She takes her oath, sits, and faces Dina. "Mrs. Brown," Dina begins, "did you have access to these financial movements?" Janelle shakes her head, her voice cutting through the silence. "No, none of us did. We weren't even told they existed." "And when did you find out?" Janelle takes a slow breath. "Last year? After Meri asked me to help request property statements, I discovered an account under R. Brown LLC. I'd never seen it before." Her eyes lock on Kody. And it wasn't just the money. It was what it meant. That everything we sacrificed, everything we built as a family, was being funneled into someone else's security. Robyn lets out a small broken sound but says nothing. Dina clicks again, and the screen fills with more documents, 8 accounts, filtered through shell companies, all signed by Kody himself. The judge leans forward. "Mr. Brown, did you authorize these transfers?" Kody stands, straightens his jacket. "Yes, but it wasn't fraud. It was strategy. The other wives didn't understand business the way Robyn did." A stunned silence follows. Christine leans forward, voice trembling with anger. "Are you saying we were too stupid to manage our own lives?" "I didn't say that," Kody mutters. "You didn't have to," Janelle cuts in. "When trust is replaced with control, love doesn't fade. It rots." Now Christine takes the stand. She hesitates for a moment, glancing toward Meri, who gives her a small, silent nod. "I knew something was wrong years ago," Christine begins softly, "but I kept quiet. I thought if I just stayed silent, Kody would come back." Her hands twist in her lap. "One night, I asked him about the college funds for our kids. He told me the accounts were empty, that the family was struggling." Her voice cracks. 2 weeks later, Robyn posted photos of her kids at a private summer program. Tuition was $10,000. Christine turns toward Kody, eyes blazing now. "You lied to me and to your children? And you made me feel guilty for asking." Meri closes her eyes. This is the cost of silence, she thinks. All those years they bit their tongues. Dina isn't done. She presents one last document. A ledger pulled from Kody's old real estate company. Withdrawals marked family necessities. But when cross-referenced with receipts, they point only to Robyn's home. Luxury furniture, trips to Hawaii, cosmetic procedures. Meanwhile, Christine's children shared used textbooks. The courtroom feels smaller now, like the walls themselves are closing in. The truth isn't just heavy, it's suffocating. Kody shifts uncomfortably, eyes darting between the screens. "This wasn't malicious," he says weakly. "I was doing what was best for everyone." Robyn finally speaks, voice trembling. "You said you'd fix it. You told me everything was temporary. I didn't know you were lying to them." She turns toward Christine, tears streaking her face. "I thought he was handling things, and like he always did." Christine's voice is cold now. "He wasn't handling them, Robyn. He was hoarding them." The judge leans back, expression unreadable. "This court will take all financial evidence under advisement. Pending verification, charges of concealment may be added." Kody stares at the table. For once, he has no defense. The gavel strikes. Court will recess until further notice. "Counsel, prepare your witness lists. Mrs. Brown," he adds, glancing toward Meri, "if you have additional material, submit it soon." Meri nods, her hand tightening around the black folder on the table, the one she hasn't opened yet. Outside, cameras flash like lightning. Headlines are already being written. "Brown family empire crumbles, $136,000 vanishes." Inside, Christine leans toward Janelle. "I can't do this anymore," she whispers. Janelle looks straight ahead. I can, because the truth is finally here, and I'm not walking away from it again. Some wars don't start with shouting. They start the moment you stop staying silent. Down the hall, Robyn stands alone. Her makeup is smudged, her hands shaking. She watches as Meri walks past, clutching that black folder. Meri! Robyn's voice is small, desperate. But Meri doesn't stop. She isn't angry. She isn't bitter. She's done. The kind of done that comes after years of forgiving the same sin in different disguises. The camera of our imagination pans to the folder's corner, just enough to glimpse the label beneath her hand. Tape transcript, 2016, property planning meeting, private recording. Her fingers hover, then press it shut. Because session 4, that's when the truth won't just shake the room. It'll burn it down. Won't just shake the room. It'll burn it down. The year was 2016, a quiet recording, tucked away in the shadows of a home that once pretended to be peaceful. Cameras weren't rolling, no producers, no TLC contracts. Just Kody and Robyn Brown, speaking freely, believing no one would ever hear what they said that night. Dina's voice sliced through the silence. This recording, she said, took place during a private conversation between Kody and Robyn Brown. What you're about to hear directly contradicts sworn testimony in this courtroom. She let the words hang heavy in the air. Sometimes, she added softly, the loudest truths are the ones whispered when no one's supposed to be listening. The door opened. Kody walked in. Late. Again. No tie. Eyes bloodshot. He didn't even glance at Robyn as he passed. He just sat down, shoulders stiff, jaw locked, as if preparing for execution. The judge nodded to Dina. Let's hear it. She pressed play. A faint click echoed through the speakers. Then came Kody's voice. Small, distorted, but unmistakable. We just need to play this smart. If I start redirecting the house funds now, we can put it under your name. Call it a trust. Christine won't even notice. Robyn's voice trembled through the recording. Are you sure that's safe? What if Janelle starts asking questions? Kody chuckled quietly. She won't. I'll keep her busy with the Coyote Pass plans. I'll feed her just enough hope to keep her quiet. Meri's already checked out emotionally. She's not a threat. The goal is to stabilize everything under you, Robyn. A pause. Then Robyn again. So, we basically control the whole thing? Not basically, Kody said. Exactly. It's cleaner this way. If they don't know where the money is, they can't use it against us. Click. Silence. That sound, that small, final click, ended more than a recording. It ended the illusion of family. Christine gasped audibly. Janelle covered her mouth. Robyn's head fell into her hands as tears began to streak down her cheeks. Kody didn't flinch, didn't move, didn't breathe. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Brown, is this your voice? Kody stared straight ahead. Yes. Are you denying that you made these statements? A long pause. Then, finally, the first honest word he'd spoken all trial. No. Meri didn't move. Her expression stayed unreadable. Not angry, not triumphant. Just hollow. Like she'd already mourned the man in front of her years ago. Dina's voice came next. Calm, sharp, deliberate. This recording demonstrates premeditated financial manipulation. Intent. It proves that Mr. Brown wasn't acting for the collective good of his family, but to consolidate power between himself and one wife. Robyn broke her silence, sobbing. I didn't know he was recording that. I didn't even remember that night. Christine stood, tears running down her face. Oh, you remember everything when it comes to you, she said. But when it's about us, you suddenly forget. Mrs. Brown, sit down, the judge warned. But Christine didn't. I believed in you, she cried. Even when you got the biggest house, even when Kody stopped coming to mine. I said nothing because I thought maybe you needed more. Janelle's voice cracked next. And when I couldn't pay my medical bills, Kody told me the family was broke. Meanwhile, you two were playing puppet master with our lives, with our kids' lives. Robyn sobbed harder. I just did what he told me. I didn't know it would go this far. Meri finally rose. Her voice was cold, controlled. You didn't know? She repeated. You said nothing when I was drowning in debt. Nothing when I begged Kody to be fair. She took a step closer. You watched me break, Robyn, and you called it family. Her tone cracked, not from weakness, but from the strength it takes to finally stop pretending. What hurts most isn't the plan, she whispered. It's knowing someone you loved could watch you suffer and feel nothing. The judge slammed the gavel. Enough. This court is not a therapy session. One more outburst and I will clear the room. Silence fell, but it wasn't calm. It was grief. The judge turned to Kody. In light of this recording, Mr. Brown, do you still claim your actions were in good faith? Kody hesitated, staring at the floor. I thought I was doing what was best, he muttered. I didn't realize it would come to this. No apology, no regret. Just the hollow echo of arrogance meeting consequence. The judge nodded grimly. I'll be issuing a ruling on the admissibility of this recording for potential fraud and perjury charges. Court is adjourned for 24 hours. The gavel fell, and the world seemed to stop with it. No one moved. 4 women and 1 man, once united by faith, love, and a shared name, now strangers divided by truth. Christine walked past Robyn without a word. Janelle lingered, staring at Kody as if searching for a shred of remorse. She found none. Meri paused at the exit, turned back one last time. Maybe it was never about polygamy, she said, her voice echoing off the walls. Maybe it was always about control. And now that no one believes in your rules anymore, Kody, you've got nothing left. And she walked out. Because once you lose control, the only thing left to manipulate is yourself. Later, in the hallway, Dina caught up to her. There's one last motion I haven't filed, she said quietly. A full asset freeze. Meri's answer was simple. Do it. Back inside, Kody sat slumped, alone. Robyn stared blankly at the wall, tears dripping from her chin. I thought we were building a legacy, she whispered. Kody said nothing, because deep down he knew. They weren't building a legacy, they were digging a grave. And this courtroom, this cold, fluorescent room, had just become the burial ground for everything they once called a family. As the session ended, the judge's desk was no longer empty. A new folder sat there labeled Witness Statement, C. Brown. Christine had requested rebuttal testimony, because the next session wouldn't be about proving lies. It would be about deciding what survived them.